Good evening. My name's Olivia. I'm known as Olivia K on Facebook, Ollie K on Instagram, 1am9800 on Reddit. So I talk about nursing related materials and NCLEX to help out students because we all know how intimidating that exam is, and not everyone passes it the first, second, or third time. So we all kind of help each other. Uh, so this week I've been doing nothing but nursing videos. Um, but this morning I did the Lamar Odom documentary, and that was a heavy documentary to react to. My next documentary video I'm going to react to is The Unknown Number, because that shit made my blood boil, and I was so pissed. And for nursing, the next nursing material I'm probably going to do will be going over the NCBSN website, because I think not too many people look at that, and they keep studying based on what is seen in the groups, what a person should focus and study on, instead of using the information on a website to help them be able to prepare for the NCLEX. So I want to go over that as well. And I will go over Temptation Island this weekend because I'm not finished with that, and it's such a slow burn, and at least with season 1 you saw more spice within 2 episodes, and then now I'm like watching it, I'm like, ugh, when's it going to get interesting? So I gotta keep watching, I guess. But today I'm going to talk about how to properly study for the NCLEX. Or how I studied for NCLEX rather. So as I told you in a few videos, like every single few videos, I've taken the NCLEX at least 3 times. I took it once as a PN. I took it twice for the RN because I didn't do good the first attempt for the RN. And I kind of forgot how to study and whatnot. So 10 years ago, side note, it's going to be 10 years in a few months since I've been working and practicing as a nurse. Yay, exciting. In 2016, I had just graduated from my practical nursing program, and which was great. It gave me a few weeks to look through ATI, because that's what I was using at the time. I was using ATI, and I was doing so good in the X exam. So, dang. So the information's still fresh when you get out of nursing school. So that's the best part of it, when you leave a program and you still have the information inside you. So, which is fantastic. The questions weren't even bad. I'll tell you, the PN exam is a lot easier than the RN one, because hell, I passed it at the first attempt, 85, 86 questions. It was such a big deal. But I remember doing questions and practicing. And again, teaching was so fresh in my mind. So it was awesome. I passed it. I can barely remember what was asked in those questions, but I'll tell you one thing. When I took the NCLEX PN, the NGN style questions didn't exist at the time. So it's either your straightforward traditional questions, or you had your select all that applies. And you know what select all that applies, and you don't get the right answers they're looking for, you don't get the point. But I passed, which is awesome. Great. So 9 years later, I just graduated from Excelsior. So see, I don't mind mentioning that because I've had a whole playlist of Excelsior in my journey. So I'll mention that one. The other school I graduated, I'm not going to mention that because who cares anyways. I graduated in 2025. I should have graduated a lot sooner, to be honest, but it is what it is. So I finished my program in August. So unfortunately, there was such a huge wait time from when I graduated, which was when I finished my last class, which was August, up until October. So that was my conferral date. So it's a little different when you're doing an online program versus going into a college physically and going to going because Excelsior is online, so you all know that. So it's a little tough, I'll be honest with you. It's really, really difficult. So it was a whole process, and then everything's continuing on and on and on. It's not like you get a break from the classes unless it's like Christmas and unless it's winter, but everything else is like consecutive back and forth, back and forth. So at that point, I kind of did things wrong. I registered on the Pearson View, even though, yes, I already have an account from a long time ago, but I just registered instead of the board nursing. And unfortunately, at the time, this is 2025 in October, past June 2025. And after June 2025, Massachusetts residents that in Excelsior, they can't be endorsed by Massachusetts. So I already knew that, right? But I thought there was going to be a leeway or loophole, but I'll get to that in a second. So, oh boy, sorry, I'm just seeing something real quick. So then a week later, I registered with Board of Nursing, New Hampshire. I love New Hampshire, by the way. I hate Massachusetts so much, so don't tell my family. I fucking hate the state so much. But that's not the point. So New Hampshire Board of Nursing had to investigate my transcript and everything, and I had to call every goddamn week, email, call every week to see the status of being approved. So it was a long way. While I was studying, practicing questions, I didn't study the right way, and that made me very anxious. I just kind of used I used Remar. Remar, like I said, it's a good program, but I did not study the right way. I'll be honest with you on that. I was just using it because I heard so many good things from Remar. So I practiced and practiced and practiced, and I felt like I was memorizing the questions and answers rather than really understanding the concepts. So that's where I faltered. So finally around December was when I got approved, right before Christmas. So I said, you know what, I've been studying so long, let me go ahead, sit down and take it January 8th. So see, I remember that date very particularly. So test time comes, finally approved. I sat and took the boards January 8th. Barely slept the night before. So which is why I tell you all to take a rest. Please rest. Okay. I took it and it's shut off at 85 or 86. I'm like, 85 actually. I'm like, oh my God, I probably passed because that's what happened to me the last time. And it was and I kept believing it until hours later, I got an email from New Hampshire Board of Nursing because they're very fast. Before I can even open the whole thing, it said, sorry, we regret, you know what I'm saying. We regret to inform you that you failed the exam. And my heart shattered. My heart went straight to my ass. And I'm just like, what the fuck? What the hell do I do? What did I do? What didn't I study? I was heartbroken because I worked so hard and waited around and waited and waited and waited. And I just said, there's something I didn't do right. And I almost wanted to say, fuck this, I want to start this over. I was completely lost. I cried for like a good 30 minutes after I told my mother, I'm like, I failed. What the fuck? And I felt bad because I didn't want to disappoint her because my parents, even my late pops, hope was for me to become an RN. And I almost said, damn, I'm going to be an LPN forever. It's going to be LPN forever. Fuck. Okay. Well, I went online and I aired my grievances. I said, well, okay, I failed, guys. I feel lost. What the fuck do I do? I didn't exactly say in those words, but I said, what the hell do I do now, guys? And then I put my CPR report. And at the time, I didn't realize, even though ChatGPT, you're kind of evil, you're an evil son bitch. I will say this. It's a great source. And if you ever want to dissect where you went wrong on your exam, it's going to help you. It helps. It really does. Sorry, 1 second. It helps because you will see where your areas you are weak on and how to improve, and it gives you a template on where to go from there. Someone did recommend that to me, and I'm glad they did. I appreciate them. So people were telling me, go back to your notes from nursing school, and it made me very pissed. And to me, it sounded very what's that word I used? Unhelpful. I mean, I know they're trying to help, but it didn't help me. And I'm like, wow, that's dismissive. That's what it was. And anyways, we'll get to that afterwards. So I'm just like, I just didn't respond to any of those because I'm like, you know what? If you're not even going to bother helping me, just don't say anything and skip over. I don't need that, because if I thought the nursing school notes were going to be splendid and superb, because I only got like a C in all my classes, that wasn't going to be good enough for me. This is an online school. And even if it wasn't, like, why would you say that to somebody? That's very dismissive and unencouraging. And it's that we're all nurses. We're all supposed to help each other out and be empathetic. That's what we're built and trained to do. So a lot of people are throwing me suggestions like hers, and I did terribly on the first NCLEX attempt, come to think about it. So someone recommended hers. They recommended UWorld, which I'm going to get to that in a second. UWorld, Marquet, and I'm glad they did. And they and all these kinds of things like boot camp, you name it. I'm like, okay, I guess. So I took a few days off after failing, and I looked through for inspiration. So like I said, I'm on Facebook and Reddit as well, and that's where you'll see a lot of inspirations. I came across this one post. I don't know. I deleted the post a long time ago, though, but I saw someone else post it, and I got inspired. They also had a similar story about how they failed the first time, and that got me hooked, because I'm looking for someone who's going to understand, right? So I started a post, and they're saying they didn't grasp the content and whatnot. So they said start from scratch. It was a really comprehensive post, and I screenshot it just because I'm like, you know what? I'm probably going to follow this formula because this makes sense, because this happened to me too. This person used UWorld. UWorld I just mentioned a second ago, right? The funny thing is my coworkers were telling me to use UWorld, and I should have just done that from the jump. I should have just used UWorld. She said UWorld, Marquet, and NCLEX Crusader, who I also recommend when it comes to NGN style and answering NCLEX questions and stuff like that. He is so amazing. So she broke it down, like 1 week was fundamentals, leadership, and to focus on fundamentals and leadership, especially RN NCLEX takers. That's where you want to focus on. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Then 1 or 2 weeks of med surge. I did at least 2 weeks. 2 weeks of pharmacology. I did 1 week. Then the week after, maternity, newborn. Week after, pediatrics. Week after, mental health. then afterwards leadership or whatever the case. So I kind of did what she did, but except I didn't do leadership at the end. I did fundamentals and leadership together because they go hand in hand. So that's where you're learning about your basics, your ethics, and all that stuff. So I used that because I'm like, well, that's great. That actually makes more sense for me. Because after I did the basics, I'm like, okay, cool. And she or he, whoever said it, they're right. The first two, you should only study 2 to 3 hours in a day. It shouldn't take you all day. It really should not. So I got inspired and I read through. I even saw that she used some sources like Simple Nursing and some other pages. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to follow that formula, except kind of remix a little on my own plan because I failed 85. So that tells that, and I do have a separate video, and that's where I go over what your results mean when you get your CPR report. Because when someone failed at 85, 75, it means they didn't grasp the content. So that's what was missing, linking the dots together. It's so weird because I kept having the thought in my mind, like, okay, if I know this content, it should be easy to apply to that question. And I just didn't grasp that at the time, and I had a lot going on. So what I would do, I studied, so I would get up at 7 o'clock, 8, and I quizzed myself, like maybe did 20, 40 questions. And then if I did okay, I move on to the next lecture on that week, on that same discipline, same week. If I didn't do as good, I went back to the lectures because I did very good lectures. I didn't use fundamentals. I didn't use UWorld lectures because I think it was content based. It was very heavy. So for lectures, I went on Simple Nursing. Level Up RN is my favorite, one of my favorites. Simple Nursing was good on certain topics. And I would use Registered Nurse RN. So I usually link those videos when I do my lectures, so you can see where I'm getting the information from, because they explain it maybe a million times better than I am. After all, I don't have my MSN, I just have my ADN, and I'm working towards my BSN. But I'm just trying to help out like I'm tutoring, I'm not qualified, but I'm doing it from the kindness of my heart. Okay, so then Marquet. So I bought a bundle of you know how I told you in a few videos how Marquet does have lectures, but they're in a video. And then also, get this, it comes with notes from UWorld. So I would also look through those. And then it gives you answers and rationales. So then you also have the NCLEX test plan, and I looked at it every single day to see what points I'm hitting each time I would test or quiz myself. So at the end of the week, after I quiz myself and practice after lectures, I would do better and I improved. And then I would double check on that NCBSN website and be like, oh, I got this. Okay, I think I answered it. I think I'm understanding it. And I looked at keywords. So that's another thing too. If you look at the keywords, it gives you hints. Start giving me hints every time I would see something I studied that week. So I didn't study everything all at once. So with fundamentals, I'm going over, like, let me say, for example, like you were asking me about sleep hygiene, words I kind of faltered a little, and I got like 1 or 2 select all applies about it, and a few times I kept getting it wrong. I'm like, oh no. And even without memorizing it, I just looked at why it was wrong, and then I looked at Level Up RN, and they went over sleep hygiene. I took notes and then or found a way to understand it. So then the next time I answered the questions, I got right. Then on Saturday, depending on if I'm working a double, because I work doubles every other weekend, and sometimes I pick up. Oh, fuck, I'm breaking this Sunday. I'm so pissed off. Anyway, so I would if I'm doing a double that weekend, I would test on Sunday. Then I have the time the night before to review what I went over that week. Saturday, if I'm not working that week, I'm testing Saturday, the night before I review, or the day before I'm reviewing. And then I practice until perfect, and then start to understand what is being asked. Whatever I got wrong, I would look up a video for on that particular topic. And I know, I'll tell you another example. With the med surg, I kept messing up on the respiratory piece because I'm not good with chest tubes. I'm horrible with chest tube. And I didn't remember high and low alarms because I don't work in a hospital. I work in home health, and we don't get a lot of chest tube, only pleuroxes. So I did that. And then the moment I understood it, and sometimes you have to watch some videos 3 times or more to understand. But every time I kept seeing the same things in the questions, I understood it. And it became like nothing. And I kept seeing in my sleep. So once I finished with the content, I moved on to test-taking strategies. So this is where I looked at Dr. Sharon. And then she has a playlist. She still has a playlist now of the NCLEX test plan. And it catered to what I already had on my screen on the side, the NCBSN website with everything they're looking for the NCLEX RN. Then I will watch her videos, at least watch 2 videos a day, because there's at least 20, and you don't want to do it all at once. Not 2, 4 videos. 4 videos. So I just saw her strategy, I studied it, and saw how she did it. And then after that, I would do. I know it's a lot. It's a lot that I'm talking about. Then after, I did NCLEX Crusade. He's the best. So he has 2 different playlists I looked at, and I will watch a video from each rather, because he has the NGN style that's blue in the background. Then he has the red background one that's your traditional, and he tells you how to answer the questions, especially the NGN one, because after 2 or 3 videos from him, because I would participate as he's explaining in the video, he made me fall in love with NGN style questions, and I love them a lot. I was so happy when I got them on my second attempt for my RN. So after I'd done all that studying, I had one more final study day. But on the week, so after I was done with Dr. Sharon and NCLEX Crusader, I went through the Marquet videos again, and I listened to him all day. I just couldn't help it, because I'm like, maybe I'm missing something, and I wanted to make sure, even though despite the fact I took the CAT exam twice and passed, I want to make sure that I will guarantee to pass this time around. So I worked so damn hard on this one. Marquet has an amazing way of explaining things that even a layman person who's not taking nursing will understand. So if you watch my arrhythmia video, I told you about how for the VFib and VTAC, unstable, no pulse. Yeah, unstable rather. So I'm talking with pulse, I'm sorry, lidocaine, amiodarone. He's the one who taught me that. Marquet taught me that one. So it was really, really amazing. The stuff you learn, the shit you learn rather. And then he has one for maternity, and he just basically tells you the basics of each of the discipline that you should know. And he does an amazing job with growth and development, which I have a hard time on, and I don't think I'll ever do a lecture on that, because even for me it's a lot. But I'll probably do a vaccine lecture one day. So the last day, I was so tempted. I even looked at a few of his videos. I'm sorry. I looked at a few of his videos and stuff, and I wasn't supposed to study the day before my exam, and I still kind of looked at one or two of his videos because I'm like, oh, I still want to make sure I'm going to pass. I don't recommend that, by the way, because you've studied enough. You learned a lot. So I watched my favorite reality TV show the night before to decompress, like what I'm doing now, decompressing, instead of always talking about nursing stuff because it will drive you nuts. It will drive you insane. So I went to bed early, but of course, same like the last time, I barely slept. I was so anxious. So the morning of, I put on Marquade Lecture 12, the infamous Marquade Lecture 12. Why did I do that? Because it's explaining priority, which I know they're going to definitely have a lot of on the exam. Then they're talking about then he talks about the growth and development towards the end and all these little tricks to still remember. So I still listened to it, and then after a while I had to turn it off and face the music and go to test center. So this was March 18th. So this is a month and a few days ago. Okay. I was there first, even before any of the test center people, even before the people getting in. We did all that great stuff, great, blah, blah, blah. So I took the exam, and I can tell you I don't remember a lot of questions, but I did get a bunch of priority, which made me happy. A bunch of NGN style questions that made me happy. I got anxious at the 85% mark because I did not want to stop because I want to make sure I'm going to pass it this time. I didn't get anxious. I know most people do. I didn't. I was so happy to get past up 85. I'm just glad I didn't shut off. And then I kept having to take pee breaks. So I think it was just all the nerves. Then it stopped at 100, and not stopped. It told me, well, I'm going to take a break at 100. You can go up and pee right now. I said, no, I've already peed enough. So it stopped, okay? I still kept getting questions after questions after questions after questions. And that whiteboard they give you, that's your best friend. So I kept writing down everything, dissecting everything in my mind, just as NCLEX Crusade taught me. And I became faster and faster. I just kept pretending that I was getting up at 7 in the morning and practicing questions. That's what it felt like. So I got worried after it went past like 1:20, 1:30. I'm like, oh my God, now I'm getting a little worried But I had to turn it off and be like, Olivia, you're making it this far. You're making it this far, so there's a reason why. And if you're making it this far, it means you're doing a hell of a lot better than last time. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep going. So they're throwing me a raft for a reason. So I sat there and answered their questions, and then we're at the end at 1:50, done. Okay. I was so anxious I couldn't even take a nap because I'm like, what if board nursing emails me and tells me that I failed again? And this time I didn't tell anybody that I was testing, not even my mother. I lied to her and told her I'm going to do a morning route. I lied. I showed my location off, everything. So I'm like, okay, let me just let her know, hey, Mom, I worked. The route was good. Because I'm used to them, as my agency asking me to pick up to work for them. So I did that. Then, I just didn't think about it. Then the next day, that night, I was getting my paycheck. So I'm like, I had a new struggle. I'm like, where the fuck is my paycheck? I'm supposed to go working the next day. I was flat out broke. Nothing. I'm just like, now that took over my mind, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that board nursing didn't email me all day. So I'm still lamenting, and I'm calling my work like, where the fuck is my paycheck? What's going on? And at 10 something, so while I'm still having this anxiety, at 10 something, I'm seeing an email from Board of Nursing, New Hampshire. I opened it, and they said, we are proud to announce you passed NCLEX. I let out this huge scream. I was so excited. I'm like, I'm finally a fucking RN. I did it. So I told my mom, and she couldn't believe it because she didn't know that I went to test the night before, the day before. It was such a miracle. It was a huge ordeal, and I'm like, I couldn't believe I passed. I could not believe I passed. And it's April 30th now, about to be May 1st in a few hours. Well, in an hour, because it's 11 p.m. I still sometimes can't believe it. So I said, congratulations, yay me. So all that hard work paid off. So I'm making this video to let you know, no matter how many attempts you have to take, you're going to get there. I only had one attempt after the RN, and that's okay. It's okay. Failures happen in life, but you can always bounce back. Do you know how many times I failed nursing school and bounced back? So many times. It took me many attempts to get to where I am today. So I'm an RN in licensed in New Hampshire, and I'm about to have 2 or 3 interviews coming up. And in places I like, something that I like, mental health, which I'm more comfortable with. Methadone clinic, inpatient, another mental health inpatient facility, and then it's not long-term care, thank goodness. And then home health. But they're probably gonna have me start as a hospice nurse, which I'm not too good with that, but I can do it. I've done this for like a long time, and I do have background knowledge with all this stuff. So you can do this. Believe in yourself. I know you can do it, because it took me years to get to an RN. If I can do it, I know you can. So if you fail, you just wipe those tears, have those cries, wipe those tears, start over. If you don't know where you went wrong on, and you want to remember where you stopped off, actually, where it cut you off, because it gives you a meaning again where you feel. I do have a short on that, by the way. It's somewhere on my page, but I have the green sweater and the braids, but I explain all about that. And I also look at CPR reports too. So if you told me you failed and you need help, I can give guidance too. But you can also look yourself and go post on ChatGPT your CPR report that board nursing will mail or email to you. You look through, it's going to give you a comprehensive place on where to start. And I'm glad I did that, and I'm so happy someone recommended that. So I'm not going to tell you what kind of Q banks you should use. Oh my god, this is a really long video. Wow. I'm not going to tell you what kind of Q banks to use, because to me, it doesn't matter what kind of Q banks you use. It's the principle of how you use your study tools. Giving out study sources alone, or whatever study source you use, is not going to be the reason why you pass. And that's something I had to find out the hard way. You have to answer questions like a nurse, because if it is a safety exam, people are going to say it's yes, it is. Yes, the fuck it is. Because every time I've examined every CPR reports, a lot of people are lacking with safety and infection control and management of care. Pharmacy and parental therapies. That's where I see a lot of errors, and which is why I did a whole playlist of pharmacology, and even some fundamental. Even that's why I did the safety and infection control. Oh my god, 1 second. Jesus Christ, he doesn't know how to shut up. Okay, that's just a friend I'm watching. It's important to know where you lack, and then again, use that website NCSBN as a crutch, like not so much a crutch, but like a study tool. Use your Q banks as a guide, because what you're going to do is you want to practice the questions on where you're stuck on, and oh my god, this guy's an idiot. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. So when you practice the questions, you're not just memorizing the rationales. Pick out keywords that will make sense. And whatever you get wrong on that question, you look at a video, look it up, see why it was wrong or right. Especially when you're writing, you're like, holy shit, how did I get this right? It's important for you to understand the concept of what's being asked. And you also look for, if you're saying, what makes the teaching correct or something like that, or I'm sorry, something just mumble jumble. What makes what teaching by a nurse was proves that it was correct or something like that by the patient. Some you know what I'm talking about. So look for keywords and stuff like that. And when you're doing select all that applies, reread the question more than once if you need to. Write down the keywords that make sense to you. Then look at the options before you're answering. Which one sounds and matches what is being asked, and this select all that applies. NGN style, same thing. You're pulling the most pertinent information and pretend you are that nurse in that case study. Visualize that patient. And what else? And use the nursing process. Act by, remember, assess, diagnose, nursing diagnosis rather, planning, intervention, and evaluate. So I have to do an update video about that really soon because that video was a month ago. So I like to do another one that's more concise and clear without me making errors. So like I said, you can do this. You got this. If you guys have any questions, I leave my platforms in every video I do. So Facebook especially, I'm easier to get. You can also get me on Instagram. And especially Reddit, because I'm on Facebook and especially Reddit all the time. And I do help people, even though it's been a while. I help people out to see how I can help because we are a community, and I think we need more people out there trying to help people test. Unlike other scammers, I am not asking for money because I don't need it. I'm going to be making money. I'm going to be making money. I'm doing it from the kindness of my heart because I felt that people were not helping me out at the time I failed. And I'm not looking for I wasn't looking for a handout. I want to be an RN too. And I know deep down you want to be an RN or PN. So I want to help. I'm dead serious about that kind of shit. I'm swearing on my dead father. I want to help. I mean it. This is what I came to this profession for. And we're a team. If you don't have your nurse community, who else do you really have? So anyways, that's all I want to do for tonight. I think it's the longest video I've ever done, so I'm sorry. So like I said, I'm going to make a video on Temptation Island, my reaction to season 2 so far as Adultville. And I want to get into nursing, so I do have some plans on what I want to do next, and it's probably going to be what I mentioned, looking at the NCSBN website. I'm going to dissect that. And then I want to do the documentary on, what's that thing called when the moms pretend? Anyway, that's, unknown number. There you go, unknown number. And then look out for shorts. I do explain some nursing NCLEX related materials that can help you. So for nursing students who haven't graduated yet or that's trying to get into nursing school, I do have a playlist of teas. And it's old, but I think the information is still pertinent. Like concepts of reading, science, and math, they don't get old. So it's there. I made public recently, so it's there if you need it. And I do have playlists of fundamental concepts like positioning, first versus best questions, which you need to master. And prioritization you need to master as well, and pharmacology, high yields. So I'm going to